Welcome to Spear Outdoors. Today we're going to go over the 4 things that I always carry with me when I go on a camping trip, hiking trip, or generally in the woods. The main tool I bring with me in the woods is my knife. This is a Mora knife from Sweden. It's a high carbon steel. It's got a full tang blade. The blade goes all the way through the handle. It is very thick and it is very sharp. I also bring with me sharpening stone. Fits in my pocket. That goes with my knife. And I also sharpen my axe with it as well. But this is very good. It's very lightweight and it keeps your knife tip-top shape. The next item I always bring in the woods with me is my Ferro rod. This is a Bayite 1/2 inch, 6 inch long Ferro rod. It is fire rated at 5,000 degrees. The sparks are just like lava whenever you use the Mora knife to scrape it. And as y'all seen in some of the videos I've posted before, especially with dog fennel, that it's a one strike deal. You strike your knife on this and that stuff is going to light on fire. So I take this with me every time I go into the woods along with my knife, and that is sure enough you're going to have a campfire. The next item I usually always bring with me is the Baco Laplander saw. It's a fold-up saw. It cuts very well. It cuts green stuff, it cuts dead stuff, and I use this a lot to cut down stuff for tripods, to make firewood, stuff like that. My next item is the first aid kit. Safety first. When you go into the woods, you never know what's going to happen. Slips, falls, breaks, cuts, burns, all that's covered inside this bag. I put this bag together myself. It's very handy, it's very lightweight. Mylar blankets come in many uses, not just for shock or temperature control, but these come in handy. You can actually make an emergency shelter out of these. They're very large, they're very extremely lightweight. Dental floss, and my favorite that I use the most, super glue. This stuff is amazing. It is a real quick suture material. You can patch up cuts real quick, and it helps clot the blood in your cuts. Believe it or not, I carry around tampons in here because puncture wounds, nosebleeds, stuff like that, you can insert this into, say you got stabbed in the arm, you can control the bleeding with that all over, gunshot wounds, stuff like that. And we got a roll of thread. You can use that for sewing everybody up. You can also use it to repair some of your equipment. I have a tourniquet that I keep in here. You never know what happens that you could have to have a tourniquet for. A lot of times the tourniquets come in handy because you are many miles away from any kind of medical help, and this can save a life right here by cutting off the blood supply to the extremity or whatever's bleeding. Pain reliever, I got Motrin, I got Tylenol, and I have Benadryl. You never know if you're going to have any kind of allergic reaction to any kind of bee stings. Maybe you're not allergic to anything. You don't know that until you get into the woods. There's stuff out there that, say a caterpillar stings you and you've never been stung by the caterpillar before, you might have an allergic reaction to it. Benadryl will help you get to the way medical help. Band-aids, alcohol pads, tape, chapstick, hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer can help clean a wound. It can help clean an area. It's going to burn, but it can help. And also, I got a squirt bottle of iodine. This stuff will actually kill any kind of bacteria around any kind of cuts, stuff like that, punctures. Gloves. I got some 10 pairs of gloves in here because a lot of times you might have to work on somebody else, not just you, and you don't want to catch anything that anybody else has. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. That's the kind of world we live in now. 4x4s, 2x2s, and believe it or not, women's feminine napkins. These are great for large cuts. They absorb a lot of blood. That's what they're designed for, and they work as a makeshift bandage. Some roll gauze so you can roll stuff up on there. Bacitracin or Neosporin type triple antibiotic for your cuts. And this is just a real quick basic kit. I have a thing of needles here. You know, I have the cell needles, I have the real large needles when you have to patch stuff up. You never know what you need to sew up, but I keep it in the medical kit. And chapstick. Chapstick comes in handy for a lot of uses. One thing I really didn't touch on a lot was the dental floss. I carry dental floss in there. One, because when you're eating an armadillo and you get it stuck in your teeth, you can get it out. Two, if you absolutely have to have some kind of fishing string, this stuff is it. Three, if you absolutely have to suture somebody up, you can use this. I always carry these 4 items with me everywhere I go in the woods. The knife is always on me. The ferro rod I always carry in my back pocket, and it has a lanyard on it, so it's a little easier to keep track of. I'll loop this through my belt and then this down into my back pocket so you won't lose it. The saw, I carry it with me everywhere I go to, because you never know when you need to cook something, and that's what I use it for mainly, is making tripods and cutting up firewood. An axe is a lot heavier and it takes up more weight, so whenever you already got 40 pounds on your back in a backpack and you're going for an 8-day trip, the axe really weighs everything down. The first aid kit, I don't go anywhere without it. It is very important to have something like this to take care of yourself when you're in the woods, or take care of somebody else. You never know if you're going to meet somebody that really needs some medical help, and to have this, not in a very advanced kit, but it is more advanced than the little put together kits that you pre-buy at the store. They got other things online that you can buy. They got full trauma kits, but a lot of times you're not going to need that just hiking through the woods. But this right here is a very basic kit that'll help you get through the woods and get back safely, or help you get to some kind of emergency medical help. Thanks for watching this episode of Spear Outdoors. If you like this video, hit the like button, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.